What's the crack, everyone? It's Ollie from B2B Sports here. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the Chelsea project. Is it failing? We're in the middle of a Brighton doubleheader at the moment. Chelsea got dumped out the FA Cup in the first Brighton game. We've got Brighton in the Premier League this coming Friday on Valentine's Day. We're just going to be discussing the Chelsea project, the signings, the ownership decisions, and I would like your honest thoughts and opinions on where Chelsea are at right now. We've been so used to the Abramovich sort of era, if you will, where even though the team isn't playing well, even though the club isn't looking in the best of states, they still do the business and get themselves a trophy. And it's taken some time to get used to the fact that Chelsea have gone trophyless for a number of seasons now, and we've seen changes of direction in terms of management, in terms of players. It's been a massive change. I think the fact that we've been dumped out of both domestic cups so early on is a big shock to the system, in all honesty. And that performance at the weekend was nothing short of abysmal, really. Again, it's a worrying theme that we're seeing where the team takes a lead early on, and then we just sort of sit back and sort of don't act on that. Cole Palmer is going through a little bit of a dip in form right now. He's not going through the high goals and high assists sort of ratio that he went through the early part of this season and the back end of last season. We need someone else to rely on. You know, we said it before that Cole Palmer can't continually step up week in, week out. We need someone else to do that job, to step up for him. And I think that is even more noticeable now that he isn't producing the goals and assists that we're used to. The club is struggling. And it's Brighton as well. It's Brighton of all clubs. We've pinched so many players and staff members from that side. Sanchez, Caicedo, Cucurella, Potter, just to name a few, have moved from Brighton to Chelsea in recent years. And when you're making moves for these kind of players, you need to be putting on the performances and beating them consistently. So it's just a big slap in the face to see that kind of result. And fair play to Brighton. Hold my hands up. Fair play to Brighton. Like to see Matoma back in the action as well. I think he's a fantastic player. But all for Chelsea, really. It's a big custard pie in the face to ownership, to sporting directors, for signing these players in the first place. Something really needs to be done about this transfer strategy, about this policy. Again, we've loaned out players that probably should have stayed within the ranks until the end of the season. You've got Nkunku, who just cannot do the job up top. I cannot stress this enough. He is not an out-and-out striker. Unfortunately for him, he plays in a team full of attacking midfield talent, and he can't get in that position. But when Nico Jackson is out through a little niggle or fitness or injury or whatever it may be, to see Nkunku up top, he just does not do the same amount of work rate, and it is evidently clear that he is not an out-and-out striker. We're in the mud. We're in deep trouble in our forward options, and it just stresses the point. Why did we not go and get a striker in the January transfer window? The board is sitting back looking pretty, saying that, you know, we'll assess our options in the summer and build a bigger plan for the summer window. But they've been saying this since the beginning. They've been saying this since they took over. It's deeply worrying, the lack of attacking options that we have at this club right now. It puts even more pressure on Nico Jackson, which I think is unfair. It puts even further pressure on Cole Palmer to deliver week in, week out. There's major inconsistencies along that back line. And in the goalkeeping position. Enzo Maresca's made his decision about the Premier League #1 keeper. I think that's going to go to Jorgensen this Friday. But he put Sanchez back in there for the FA Cup tie, which again doesn't really make much sense to me. The regression in this side since the start of the season is deeply worrying. And I think this was a worry of Chelsea fans on the whole, about chucking in such young talent, signing them on such long contracts. What if it doesn't work? They're highly talented prospects across Europe, but what if they don't click? What if it doesn't work out? This project doesn't work out. We're a couple of years into this project and we're still a mile away from the desired 11 that we all hoped for. And yes, we are in the top 4 currently, which is the main aim for this season. But the way we're playing, the form of late, we won't remain there. Newcastle are hot on our tails, Man City there and thereabouts. We've got Bournemouth that are absolutely flying, Villa who are doing incredibly well as well, who we have coming up in a couple of weeks too. There's no room for error, and unfortunately we're hitting a bad patch of form right now. I don't know how much of a say Enzo Maresca has in the transfer policy, in the decision of players leaving the club, or whether he's simply a yes man, but someone needs to be held accountable, because we are going to be seeing injuries like we are to Nico Jackson, to Mark Guéhi, to Reece James, etc, etc. And we're simply one Caicedo or Cole Palmer injury away from writing off the season, in all honesty. How did they not account for injuries in their transfer policy? The mind boggles. The mind really does boggle. As I said, we've got Brighton coming up again in the league this time round. Hopefully Reece James will be part of that action, and hopefully Nico Jackson will be back in the team too. But we need to see a much improved performance. We need to see fluidity up top. We need to be clinical with our chances too, and no mistakes at the back. I think it rubs salt in the wounds again, seeing another forward talent going on loan and doing the business straight away. Look at Joao Felix for Milan, scores within 10 minutes on his debut. And no, I don't think a change of manager is the answer, because we'll be going round and round and round in circles again with new management bringing in his new ideas and philosophies. And yes, the overall vision of this project will just keep being delayed and delayed and delayed. I think sporting directors need to take some sort of ownership and accountability of their transfer signings, and just pray and hope that we click and Jackson starts firing. And yeah, I think in the summer, another striker, another central midfielder, defender and goalkeeper, practically the spine needs completely reviewing in the summer, and we go again. But it'll be interesting to know your thoughts, Chelsea fans. What do you think of the current situation around Chelsea Football Club right now? Just please do not lose to Brighton again, because that could finish me off at this rate. But thank you very much for watching and listening, everyone. I really do appreciate it. We'll get through this time, Chelsea fans. We'll get through it. Tough times never last. Tough people do. Up the Chelsea, and peace out.